This week on Beyond the Panel, we actually fixed the audio issue. Like, I'm not joking. Like, we actually fixed the audio issue. You're going to think that I'm lying to you. You're going to be like, for the third time, David, you said you weren't going to be able to have Patric Covey on the show. No, Patric's on the show. We're talking to him right now. We're talking about all the comics we like to right now on Beyond the Panel. Number 7 of Beyond the Blast Doors is upon us here on this Thursday, doing it live. We're breaking the rules. Usually we do this pre-recorded. We stream this on the premiere Thursday nights at 6 p.m., but we're doing something a little bit different tonight. Today, I should say. It's this morning. I'm David. I am kind of like the main host. I'm the only host. Let's be honest. David, Gilbert, and Jesse, they do the live show with me every Sunday, but usually it's me here in the seat by myself. But I'm joined with a guest. I'll get to that in a second. But I do want to say thank you so much for joining us here on Beyond the Panel on the Beyond the Blast Doors channel. This show is where we just talk about Star Wars comics unless there's crazy news that a guest brings along. We'll get to that later. Deep tease. There we go. But no, I'm really excited. If this is your first time checking out Beyond the Panel, please do yourself a favor. Hit the subscribe button. Comment down below. When you subscribe, hit that bell. So that way when we go live or we drop new episodes of Beyond the Panel, we go live for our weekly live show on Sundays. You are the first person to know because you subscribed and you clicked that bell. Of course, if you're returning, or I guess this does apply if you are a new viewer, be sure you smash that thumbs up button and comment down below in the video. Love having you in the live chat, in the live chat. Want you to do that. Just don't forget to also drop a comment underneath the video so that way we can continue our conversation, our Star Wars conversation, after this live stream ends. Okay, I've talked long enough. We got a couple comics this week as far as Solo, a Star Wars story, adaptation number 5 of 7. I think yesterday I said of 6. That was wrong. It's of 7. I'm sorry. We also have a couple fun little tales in the latest Star Wars Adventures number 18. But as I teased, I am not alone in talking about these comic books today. I am joined by a friend of the show, and I think I can call him a friend at this point because I've put him through a lot, and he still comes back. So he's either loyal or he's gullible. I'll let you decide for yourself. But I'm joined right now with Patric Covey. We are in the double box. He is live with us. Patric, how are we doing, buddy?
Doing great. Great to be back on the show, David.
We brought Patric on, this was 2 weeks ago, on the live show, and he was our guinea pig with testing out the audio, and it's been an 8-day process. We found out that we had the wrong cable purchased. We had, like, stereo inputs where it needed to be mono. Anyways, we fixed it. He's loud and clear. Really excited about it. Excited to be talking about Star Wars comics with you today. And first off, before we get into the books of this week, I would just like your general, I want to get a better idea. I want the viewer to have a better understanding of where you are with Star Wars comics. So when it comes to Star Wars comics, how invested are you in the current books on the shelves right now?
I try to stay as up to date as I can with these comics. There's certain issues that maybe might not pique my interest, but as a fan of the general overall canon, I just keep pushing through. I got to get my canon like little bits of information, so it's always fun to just get through it. And sometimes, you know, that one issue that might not look all that appealing might actually be the issue it turns out you really, really enjoy.
How much do you love that Vader? We talk about the Charles Soule Vader all the time on the channel. How much do you love Charles Soule's take on a infant Vader?
It was interesting. I really enjoyed his take on the series, and it's by far the best comic series they've done to date.
Well, you know, my theory is that I want him, well, it's not really a theory, it's more of like a want. I want him to take over the Star Wars main line when Gillen gets off of it, but I don't know if it's going to happen. I don't know if it's going to happen, but that's what I want. But what I also want is really good stories with Han Solo, because he's a character that I have a lot of, I don't want to say affection for, but I have a lot of admiration for the character. I mean, he was the kind of the first tough guy character I experienced as a young guy. And we got Han Solo in both of these books that we're talking about today, and that is Star Wars, Solo, a Star Wars story number 5, and of course Star Wars Adventures. And so before we dive into these books, just like base level, what has been your take on the Solo, a Star Wars story adaptation so far?
Well, first, I wasn't all that interested going into this because I'm not really a fan of the movie adaptations of the comics because they do take some liberties now and again. But it really just comes down to who's writing the story and who's doing. I really, and if anything, I really enjoyed the solo one because they even started to dive into some of that stuff with, Han at the Imperial Academy on Karita. That was pretty cool stuff, and that ties right back into that other Han Solo Imperial Cadet comic they're doing right now.
Do you feel like it was like strange how it all timed out? I mean, it seems to make sense that we would get the adaptation. You get this young cadet, this Imperial cadet run, and we also get so much involvement with him in the Star Wars Adventures. It timed out well with Solo, but is it too much Solo talk right now? Do you think for the common reader or the common fan? It seems like you have some people asking for more diversity in the lines as far as story and time on the canonical timeline that these stories take place.
Yeah, sometimes it can be a little bit too much, but sometimes we have to sit back and remind ourselves that even in the comics and writing world, everything is reactionary. What can be the next big thing that we can produce that's still going to be really, really enjoyable, but that is also going to sell pretty decently well or fairly well. And so everything is generally a couple months behind because everything is based on a schedule. So there might be things in production right now that it's all the stuff we want as comic fans, and it's just on the back burner right now. So sometimes we just have to, as Ben Kenobi would say, just be patient.
You know what? That is, we should be patient, have trust in the Force. I think you're absolutely right. Before we dive into the comics, and we'll take that inside the comic look that we always do, but I do want to shout out the Fantasy Shop in Maplewood, Missouri, proud sponsors of this show, and the segment Pages, Pixels, and Pieces. If you watch our live show every Sunday starting at 11 a.m. or sometimes as late as 12:15 in the afternoon Central Time. Hey, but they have everything. They have comics, they have games, collectibles, they have stuff for miniatures, the board games. They have everything you could want. So if you're ever in the St. Louis area, in St. Louis Mo, that 314 or the 636, hop into a Fantasy Shop and tell them that you heard about their shop from Beyond the Blast Doors on Beyond the Panel. And that would be just really fantastic. They've been probably serving the St. Louis area since 1984, 81. They've been doing it for a long time, and they've been helping this show out for the last year, so we really appreciate that. Patrick, let's dive into this. Solo number 5. The first page of this book, to me, is perfect. Maybe my favorite page of 2019 so far. You get that ominous shot there of the destroyer in the clouds, and then you get this really sweet shot of the TIE fighters coming out of the bottom. I like this shot more than what we got in the actual movie.
Yeah, I really love this one as well. As somebody who's really invested in brand new TIE fighters, seeing that TIE Brute in this comic panel, it gets me excited every time I see that. That's probably one of my new favorite TIE fighters.
You know, with this comic, what we're getting here is they've just stolen the coaxium from the spice mines of Kessel. They're blasting off. Now they got to do this Kessel run, and they get in these Imperial entanglements, we'll say. And so we follow the journey going through the Kessel run. Of course, there's always a bigger fish in the sense that there's this big monster, this big creature. They have to escape, and then they blast out of it. The comic actually takes us all the way back to meeting up with Kira and going back towards Dryden Voss's ship. I was really surprised with how much time in the movie was covered in this one book. And I was curious, Patrick, would you say that it felt rushed? Because it felt like we left Kessel and we were about to hand over the coaxium. Lando's walking away from Han Tick that his ship's destroyed. Did it feel that way to you?
Yeah, it felt like this one was a little bit more previous issues. I feel like they're just trying to, fill up the panels for a full issue. And, with a scene like that, it is a little bit limited into what you can do. You can't show all these that they do with the ship in the movies. So they are limited in aspects of what they can do. So I feel like they might have rushed a little bit to the Savareen scene. If they would have played that out maybe one more page, I think it wouldn't have felt as rushed. But overall, I did like the little a little addendum they added in there where the lightning hit the ship and all their hair went poofy, which, if I remember correctly, was originally a plan in the script for the actual movie. Chewbacca's hair was going to get all poofy like that, and they decided to throw that in the comic instead.
What I love about this is the art styling of this. Like here, we're looking at the last page of Enfys Nest, and now I want to have a side comic book miniseries just on Enfys Nest and the Goons.
And who knows, we might get it.
Well, If it's anything like the TV projects for for Disney Plus, it sounds like every character in the Star Wars galaxy has potential of having a streaming show or a bonus story when it comes to comics. When do you feel like this adaptation satisfies the need for? I always use this example. I liked Rogue One a lot. It's my favorite Disney era Star Wars movie, but I really liked the Rogue One novelization because it allowed me to learn more about the character of Cassian Andor. It tells me that he's the son of Separatists. Well, that's a huge reveal. That changes a lot of things. It makes a lot of sense when you think about that character. Wish I would have gotten that in the movie. When you read these comics, has there been a reveal of that magnitude to you as far as, wow, I really wish this would have been in the movie?
There can be, but it's kind of hard even with the comics to get in the headspace of those characters because you're limited on how many panels you can do or how many pages you have in these quick comic issues. So it just kind of comes down to what the people developing the story for the comic miniseries really are trying to intend. They've got their main story, and if they need to fill those extra panels, maybe that's where you can go into the headspace of those characters. I did like what they've been doing with Kira. It's been really interesting how they've been adding little panels in there, trying to get into her headspace a little bit more because that's partially what fans actually wanted was to see a little more Kira anyways.
I really felt that the character wasn't really given enough time to shine on screen, and I thought that every scene that she shared, especially with Han, I thought it was really enjoyable, and it really harkened back to me to some of those scenes you got with Han and Leia in Empire, where it's high intensity situation as far as we've got to escape, we got to get away, but here's this romance and it fits, it works. So I've really enjoyed it, and like I said, I just keep looking at the art because it really does bring me a lot of joy. I think that as much as I love that first page that I told you about, I kind of thought it was underwhelming how they portrayed how the Falcon blasted out that situation, got through the canyons or whatever was collapsing there. It kind of was disappointing to me when I got to that point in the book. But then you get to the end and you see the faces, and I make mention of the faces, Patrick, because what's your take on the main line? I think Angel is doing a great job on the main Star Wars line now with the art, but when Salvador LaRocca was on there, it just took me out because it was it felt too computer generated in a way. They were really trying to make it look like a cross between Alden Ehrenreich and Harrison. It just wasn't working.
Yeah, it really just comes down to everybody's individual taste with the artist. I mean, is everybody going to like something like that? Not necessarily. But for some fans, maybe that works. Everybody just has, their individual tastes.
Absolutely. And by no means am I trying to tell anyone how they should view a comic or what they should think, or if they like it, why they're wrong, or whatnot. No. That is not what I'm trying to do. I just like to give my opinion, and that's why I think it's so fun about our Star Wars conversations. We don't stray away from, if you don't like something, I want you to say it and why. And if you love something, I want you to say it and why. And that's what we try and do on the live show on Sundays. That's what I try and do here. That's why I'm so glad that you're part of this conversation now. I feel like you're pretty honest about everything. And I'm going to bring us back on the double box because, I just think that's a really important point to make while you brought that up is, the purpose of the show isn't to tell to the reader or anyone interested in getting comics what they should think. Here's our take, and if it sounds interesting to you one way or the other, go ahead and check that out. I'll be fully transparent. There's some stories that I've read in the last couple of months, Patrick, that I think are not the best, but I picked them up because I'm a sucker for a good cover.
Yeah, there's just some of those issues, man. They mess with us as fans a little bit and make us question things again, like, well, why would they do that if in the movie this happens? Or why would they do that? But ultimately, we're all here for the story. We're here to collect awesome comic covers, so it's all good in the end.
Now, this is an interesting question that's being brought up in the live chat. I want to pull this up real quick. Area 51 and Aggressively Relaxing are asking questions about the original, which original script for Solo, the one that they had to redo after they fired the original guys, or the Ron Howard one. So I think what they're asking is, is the adaptation based off of the original script or what the tweaks that were made when Ron Howard came on board? I'm pretty sure that, and the way I understand this, Patrick, is this is most definitely the script that Ron Howard ultimately put on screen, right?
Yeah, this is definitely the Kasdan's script that they had for the movie. I think they might have had a couple individual things in there, like, the hair situation, like we just saw in issue number 5. That was originally in the script. So they did take some liberties in some of these issues, but generally they stuck to the script.
Solid. Well, I want to say thanks to Area 51 and Aggressively Relaxing for
Thank
asking
you.
that question, because it's a really good point because of the director debacle that they had with Solo and just how in advance they start planning these comic books. It is always nice to know that it's always nice to know that the script that we do have is from the Kazans, because that's the original vision. I sometimes do wish, though, I'm so frustrated. I really do wish that Iger would have allowed Howard more time and let the movie come out in December. I just think it would
Yeah.
have done double the box office. That's just me, though. I don't know if you have a take on that real quick.
I always thought that with something like Solo, honestly, there's something they've never done in Star Wars, and that is considering maybe a potential fall release instead of a December release. It's never been tried in the series. I know generally August and September don't generally do good for the box office, but if you were to stick Star Wars in that month, it would still dominate anyways. But they also have to consider things like, are kids going back to school? Are we coming up on summer? Is it Christmas break? Because generally those are the high ticket times of the year for selling movies.
Absolutely, and I'm just amped because I want to get back into the seats so bad in December and watch Episode 9 and see what that's like.
I can't wait.
And dude, it's like with all this buildup around like the Mandalorian wrapping as well, and I made the terrible joke earlier, but it seems like every character has the opportunity to get its own streaming service now on Disney Plus, or its own streaming show on Disney Plus. Like, I am just so pumped because we are in such a rich time. Like, if you wanted to be a fan of a franchise, now seems to be the time. If you're a comic book lover, you're getting everything with the MCU. DC's trying to do their stuff. You got Umbrella Academy, Doom Patrol coming up on Netflix. Those both series are just crushing it. If you're a Star Wars fan, you have all this new content. And I see some negativity online. And again, I really do think that the amount of negativity we see online is just such a small sliver of the fandom, Patrick. I gotta believe, like, you gotta root. You should root that everything here is stellar. Like, why would you? Don't boycott a movie. Don't root that it's terrible. Don't root that the box office tanks. Like, you should be going to bed every night praying to whatever you believe in that movie is going to be the best Star Wars story that we've gotten yet. I cannot wait, man.
Yeah, I can't wait either. And there's something we as Star Wars fans sometimes do, and that is we predict so far in advance as to what we want. We have all these expectations going. But something I learned after going into The Force Awakens and kind of into Rogue One is we really all need to start leaving our expectations at the door. Just go in, whether you like the movie or not, just have a good time, enjoy yourself.
Absolutely. And Area 51 asks, quick question: has the Kathleen Kennedy situation? What is the Kathleen Kennedy situation going in Episode 9? Will it affect Episode 9? Okay, I don't understand that sentence, but I think what he's saying is there any drama there with Kathleen Kennedy? She got her contract renewed. She got a 3-year deal.
Yeah.
And that's going to carry her through Episode 9. That's going to carry her through the drop of Disney Plus and these initial series dropping on the streaming service. I partially don't think that she'll be around. I'm not an insider, and I don't try to pretend like I'm an industry insider, but I think there's something to be said about how, like, her past experience has been about marketing and selling the logistics of a production. It's not about maintaining a universe. It's not about procuring the mythology or the mythos of the franchise. And so I would think that you'd want someone with that skill set to step in. Everyone's going to go to Dave Filoni, and I just don't know if Dave Filoni has I don't know if he has the experience to say, like, come on and to take over in that position, because his experience is in animation, and of course now he's getting opportunities to direct live action, but I don't know if there's like another step up the ladder he needs to take before he gets that role, if he were to get that role. But I'm going to root for him because he's helped give me my favorite Star Wars the last decade. Clone Wars is exceptional. The Rebels series started to push the boundaries of what we knew about like, he made World Between Worlds work. Like, that dude knows the mythos. He's the heir apparent, you thought, to George Lucas anyways. So I don't know. Do you have a take on that, Patrick? Do you think the drama with Kathleen Kennedy. I don't think it's really a role right now. I think it's kind of a thing of the past. I think we're just ready for episode 9 in theaters.
I honestly think the Kathleen Kennedy stuff kind of started as like a fan thing against her because Star Wars just wasn't going the way fans wanted.
Right.
Whether or not you believe that is something completely different, because everybody has their individual takes on how the sequel trilogy is going. But as fans, we sometimes forget that Kathleen Kennedy was on 3 to 4 years before Force Awakens even dropped. So by the time 2021 rolls around, she's done her 10 years with Lucasfilm. If she decides to stay that long, if she wants to go do something else with the rest of her life or retire, that's up to her.
I totally I mean, who am I to tell Kathleen Kennedy what to do with her life,
Honestly.
I'm just here watching. I just want, like I said at the beginning of this little rant here, I just want good Star Wars stories. And poor Mike gets on here, and he's just wanting to say that the final scene of Rogue One was badass. Area 51 is asking something about the boycott affecting Solo. Oh, I guess he's wondering if that will affect Episode 9. I really don't give I don't
think so. Not with the main saga film, no.
Yeah, I really don't think that it's going to have an impact. I don't even think that it had really an impact on Solo. I think what this was about, I'm going to turn up our volume a little bit more. Apparently we need to turn up the volume just a hair more. What I think it was really was just poor marketing on the part of Disney.
It really was, yeah.
And we've heard so many of these stories where, Iger says, this is how we're going to market the movie, or you go to a box store and you find out that they're not allowed to put any Star Wars stuff on the end caps of an aisle. That's reserved for Avengers Infinity War. And so when you don't have the TV commercial, I mean, they didn't have a big budget anyways because they had to do all these reshoots. They had to cost somewhere. But because they rushed and they pushed it to May, because Bob Iger said he wanted it in May because he wanted the top first quarter, and it backfired on him. He admitted all that. Poor marketing, and I think rushed production when you got Ron Howard in there, I think is there to blame. I'm not gonna give credit to that boycott. I think that those are just the trolls trying to get reaction and get clicks. But thanks for everyone jumping into the live chat. We really appreciate it. We had 5 watching right now live. We had about 10 at one point. People are in and out. I get that. It's a Thursday morning. If you haven't already, smash the thumbs up button. Drop a comment in the actual comment section under the video, so that way we can continue this conversation, the Star Wars conversation, after we end this live stream. Let's go ahead and jump into Star Wars Adventures now, Patrick, because we have this story where Padme and Jar Jar team up. And again, the IDW books are for the little ones. They're for the kids. A great little entryway. If I was teaching my kid how to read, I would be handing him or her these comics. What's your take, Patrick? I think you really enjoy these, right?
Yeah, I've loved these. As somebody who really gets deep into the mythos, they love throwing these little Easter eggs and canon hints in there where I'm flipping through page to page and I might see that one in there that just blows my mind. And we'll get into this here in a second, but I noticed this one's going to take place between episodes 1 and 2, so this may tie in around the time of Queen's Shadow. Just saying.
Oh, are you trying to have a hot take right here? That'd be funny.
No, I haven't read the book or anything like that. I'm just saying, with this taking place shortly after episode 1, there's some stuff that might start pushing towards episode 2 potentially. But I mean, this was just a little fun side adventure. There's no deep ramifications with this issue at all.
I can roll with that. I really can roll with that. And I have a hard time. It really does feel like the year of Jar Jar. Matt, Matt of the Star Wars group will make that joke often on Twitter about how it's the year of Jar Jar, but it definitely kind of does feel that way. I think this is great for the kids, but for this little run where Jar Jar and Padme go on this mission, they're gonna go find treasure. I did like the one, and it comes back and it's like Gop or something. Mm-hmm. Whatever. I mean, I'll give that to my 5-year-old. I don't need it for me. Did you notice, though, it kind of felt like they were trying to spoof Indiana Jones at one moment. Did you like that?
They were clearly doing Indiana Jones. It was blatantly obvious how they were doing it. And I just love that whole, how that part where she pulls it. And next thing you know, you got a Gundark in your face. That's pretty funny.
It's, Area 51 is not letting this go. He's like, the boycott made it to national news. You know what, Area 51, you're absolutely right. I'm just going to stick to the marketing thing because I don't want to get tied up in arguments with other people about this boycott. But I totally respect your take. Don't want to, not trying to step away on that all. I don't want to give that that beast more credibility than what it doesn't really deserve. So for this comic, though, the first half, Padme tightroping. Don't need it. But what I will say is this next short in this comic book is a really great payoff, and that's Flight of the Falcon. This is part 5, Grand Theft Falcon, Patrick. Get it?
Oh, yeah.
I played those games. I think it actually would be dope to have Grand Theft Auto Star Wars themed, though. That would be fun. It'd be like you could actually be Duquesne, and you could like go up and grab Solo by the shoulder and just punch him in the face, break a bottle over his head, and then steal the Falcon and go become a rich guy. Because that's the R-rated version of what happens in this comic. Because that's essentially what
Yeah,
we
because
right?
it doesn't happen.
How Duquesne gets the Falcon. You want to break that down?
Yeah, this was a great one. Of course, we start off with our main protagonist, Bazine Natal from Force Awakens. She's been the whole main protagonist behind this Flight of the Falcon series, starting off with those. I think it was it was the Han and Chewie Choose Your Own Adventure book. I think was the first main part of that series. And then from there, they've just been doing the Adventures comics on top of that. This series has been great because she's like tracking down little hints as she's going along about where the Falcon is. Or it's more about her getting pointed to the next person in line who may potentially have a hint, because everybody's story, she gets more and more frustrated because they're really not giving her any valid information. This one was particularly great because she ends up going through this whole thing at Maz's castle, which is kind of cool because she's back finally where we saw her in Force Awakens. She's been everywhere else in the universe, but now she's back here again. So I think this might be the turning point issue where she's going to start making headway towards finding out where the Falcon is. It's very interesting.
I like the inclusion of Proxima. It works for me.
Yes.
Because obviously we see Proxima is a constant in this little series that we've gotten. If it was, I think, the first or second issue of this little story that we see Han go back to Proxima, and this time he has a thermal detonator instead of a rock, and that whole spoof, that gag from Solo plays out again, which is like, okay, whatever. But I do like her kind of recurring, because I like the idea of building out our underworld lords. Like, I want to explore Crimson Dawn, and I want to explore these underworld organizations that we learned about in Clone Wars, for example, how like Dooku is able to get certain organizations to keep away what is it, is it Seaman? No, not Seaman. What's that guy's name? Not Momin. The guy that was with Sifo-Dyas when the ship crashed, when they try to kill him. I'm gonna have to look that up, but I'm trying to remember the guy that they kept alive. Dooku.
I can't remember his name, but I know who you're talking about.
Yeah, it's like Timon or something. I'll look it up here in a second. But anyways, I just really want to explore that underworld. That's why I wanted 1313, that video game, so bad, is because I wanted to learn more about that dirtier, grittier side of the galaxy. We get a good look here. I will tell you, this female bounty hunter. Here we go. It's a Thursday morning. It's early. Spacing on her name. I think we've said it once already in this show, but my goodness, she's everywhere now. All she was, I thought, was a cutaway scene in The Force Awakens telling the First Order that BB-8 was on Takodana. This girl's getting screen time, Patrick.
Yeah, and I think it all kind of started with Delilah Dawson's book. I think it's called, is it Perfect Shot?
I think
I
so,
forget
yeah.
what it's
She
called.
had her own book
It's
there.
it's an ebook. I think it's the only canon book I haven't read yet, actually, because it was an ebook. Because I do all hardcover on all mine, so I try to get my hands on those. So we learn a little bit more about her and how she's more than meets the eye. That's for certain.
I'm looking up right now Perfect Shot novel because I'm so frustrated that I'm not able to recall this character's name.
Bazine Natal is her name.
There we go, Bazine Natal. And but now she works, to me, she seems like I'm going to bring us back up in the double box. She seems to me like a bounty hunter that I can really get behind having more appearances pop up. Like, I'm okay in this, like, children's comic, but, like, I wouldn't be upset seeing her in, like, popping up in the Resistance, for example. Like, I feel like that would make that's a very convenient spot for her to cameo.
Oh yeah, she definitely cameo in something like that, and she's almost been giving off this vibe in this Flight of the Falcon series where she's kind of like tracking down hints along as she goes. She kind of reminds me of the Boba Fett that we never really got in the original trilogy. They're kind of taking on some of those bounty hunter vibes and kind of expanding on that a little bit more. So I've really enjoyed that.
I and I think that's what the role that these comics and these books should play is they shouldn't tell you the pivotal points of the story. They should just enhance of what you learned in the movie. Put the big important things in those movies. But that's just me. Let's go ahead, though, real quick, and let's talk about the comics coming out next week, though, because we just have one. I said comics, but we really just have one, and it's Dr. Aphra, number 28. Got the covers on the screen, Patrick. Are you a cover hunter by chance?
I'm not a super cover hunter. I'm more of a trade paperback guy myself. But if there is that one issue I've really enjoyed, I'll definitely pick that up at my local comic shop. Just because that cover is just like it's too sweet to resist. I think out of all the covers, the one I've enjoyed the most that I definitely had to pick up was that Leia cover of Star Wars 50. I had to get that.
My problem is that I get suckered into variants kind of easily because like if it's a really cool cover, like I'm down, but
Yeah.
because that's what I'm going to display. I really didn't like the icon covers, and I'm not trying to be a Grinch about this, but when you're looking here on your screen, we've got the A cover on your right, we have your B cover on the left. This is the Greatest Moments variant, and I'm a real big fan of these Greatest Moment variants. I was a really big fan of the 40th anniversary covers. They had the gold trim, and that also was like iconic, moments in the franchise. I have an Ed McGuinness cover behind me of Han and Chewie in the hallways blasting at stormtroopers. He's my favorite comic book artist, maybe, just because I loved what he did with Superman back in the 90s or 2000s. Random trivia about David. But I'm really apt to pick up this Dr. Aphra variant cover, but also the A cover looks stellar, and I'm really happy with what they're doing with Aphra in general. We saw Poe Dameron wrap up what they say was as planned. We are getting some series here in March and in April, smaller size, 5-issue miniseries here and there. But what do you think, Patrick? Do you think that Aphra has the potential of just being an ongoing series like we're seeing with the main Star Wars line because fans love the character, the issues are selling, and the story is maybe the most compelling consistently that we've gotten in comics since Disney took over in 2012?
Yeah, I think Aphra has the potential to go still pretty far. I don't think it can last for too much longer because now we're starting to get into some territory with Empire Strikes Back because this has kind of been an overlapping comic with the mainline Star Wars issues and the previous Darth Vader stuff they had done a couple of years back. And so I think Aphra's time's coming to a close pretty soon. That doesn't mean the character is going to be gone. They could do another series down the road if they want to. But I think she's going to have some legs for a little bit more. And of course, I don't know if you saw this or not. I think figures are starting to pop up again. You're going to be able to purchase more Aphra again on the shelf.
Yeah, she has
It's
that
pretty
Black
cool.
Series figure that looks just stellar, and I'm really excited about that. Here's my thing. I got trouble on the live show this past Sunday from Jesse and David about this. Not only are you getting Dr. Aphra, but you're getting BT and 000. Or not?
Yeah,
You're getting those two, and then you're also getting a Chopper minifigure from Star Wars Rebels. And I wouldn't want any of the Astromech Droid figures because I think that's like just a waste of like $25. But that Chopper one where he's like exploding and you have all that like fire, like that looks
it's great.
insanely cool. I hate using Jesse's line, shelf piece, but it's true. Like that would look sick on your shelf. I'd love to have it on this set. Is Aphra the one? And we're talking in case you're watching live or you're watching on the rewind, you don't know what we're speaking about. We're talking about New York Toy Fair. Hasbro dropped all these new Black Series Rebels. Well, that's the podcast. Black Series Figures is the product, the toy product that you can buy. And you can check out Black Series Rebels because they're good guys and they have a great show. But of all these figures, Patrick, which one stands out to you the most?
I think the Chopper one is by far the one that really got me. But then there was also the General Grievous one that's coming out. I've had my eye on that one for a while.
Do you think, though, that it's because the dilemma that I think a lot of fans are having is the fact that it's going to be a little bit more expensive. I believe I saw that figure is going to be closer to $30. Where
I don't mind. I don't mind dishing out 30 for Grievous. Okay.
okay, and that's
It's
fine
worth
because I feel the same way. Because like the attention to detail is great. Like you get Grievous, you get 4 sabers, and the inside of the cloak, you get the little slits that you can put the lightsaber hilts in to recreate that scene from Revenge of the Sith. So like I love that. But what do you think about, you get this Vader figure that came out recently. I'll pull it up on screen. I have it right here. This is the hyper real figure. It is 8 inches, so an extra 2 inches. It's not how you. It's all about how you use it. I think that's what someone told me once.
I think that was the joke you used. Yeah.
Yeah, that was the joke I tried to use. I tried to recreate that special moment. Beat that horse to death. Anyway, the point is, this thing is coming in now at $100. I thought this was supposed to be $75, $80. I'm saying now this is going to be a $100 figure. Are you kidding me?
Yeah, this thing has been a drama hound in Twitter for the last few days. I mean, they started off the base price around $65, $70. We were like, okay, $65, $70, it's hyper real. Okay, well, we might spend that much if we really want this thing. And then they bumped it up to $75. And then they bumped it up to $80. And it's like, okay, now you guys are just messing with us.
It's, like, I want it. I made the comment. Like, the moment it came out, I was all about it. I was like, I'm going to get this figure, and I'm going to give it away on the YouTube channel. We'll do it on the live show. Makes total sense. We're going to have to give away. I mean, I don't know. I mean, we're probably going to still do it. But that $100 figure, it makes me think less. It seems to me that they're trying to go into, like, the territory of, like, slideshow and hot toy or sideshow and hot toys. Do you get that sense at all?
Yeah, I am starting to get that sense, and I think what they're really going to start to do is see how pre-orders do first. And I think that's why the price keeps jumping around. Is if they're selling a whole bunch at lower prices, they're going to keep bumping that price up to see how much they can really make off this thing. And if it stops selling at a certain point or not doing quite as well, they'll be like, okay, that's where we need it as our base level here. But this is the first one, so what they're really trying to do is just kind of dip their toe in the water and see how much fans are really trying to possibly dish out for something like this. I think this is just a real big test to all of us.
Real quick, though, I want to show the Obi-Wan figure because I freaking love this figure. It's the 20th anniversary. Yeah, man, it's of that original figure we got in '99. I have this original figure at home. Like, I have it. And to see it with this amount of detail, this thing is gorgeous. And this is...
It's beautiful.
Go ahead.
It's absolutely beautiful. I mean, you think when you walk in your comic store or something like that and you still see these on the shelf, you're like, wow, even those figures from '99 still look really cool. And then you look at this... It's unbelievable that they can turn around a product they had in '99 and make it look even better than it did before.
I am just so excited, and here's where I'm like that. I'm going to be that stereotypical collector. I'm going to get one for me to keep in the package, but then I'm going to have one to pull out and put on the set. It just has to happen. But yeah, no, really, there have been just so many great figures dropped, and we could keep going on this one. Patrick, we could keep talking about this in the sense that we got new images of all the Lego sets that are coming out in April, and a little underwhelmed. A lot of junior sets, a lot of these junior sets, and
they're easier on the wallet. So
I mean, I guess, but it's easy on the wallet because I'm not going to buy any of them. I think my thing here is, I know that toys aren't made for like me and you. Like
they're not.
These Legos aren't being made for you and I anymore. When we were 9 and 10, like I have all but two of the original '99 Lego sets.
Wow.
Got the X-wing, got the TIE fighter, got the B-wing, got the Naboo swamp, got the Trade Federation droid ship or droid tank, got the original MMT, ATT, the droid carrier. Like I have those sets. And those were made, and they were trying to get me to pull my dad and mom's, sleeve and say, buy me these Legos. And I know that now there's 9-year-olds doing the same thing, and they're making these sets for them. We get the UCS sets. I've actually kind of stopped buying Star Wars Legos as much, and now I'm actually getting the creator expert buildings. They're like 4,000 pieces. They're modular builds. They're really cool. Would love to see Star Wars have a modular build of some sort. I think that'd be I think that would go over really well. But maybe that's a different show. I don't know, Patrick. We got to find ways of getting you on the show. What's your first? I mean, I think we could easily bring it back for Beyond the Panel. Is this something you'd like to do more often?
Oh, heck yeah, man. Obviously.
I want to let everybody know that watching live or watching on the rewind, we have provided some links down under this video, and we do this now in the description of all our videos, is that we include some links to some upcoming comics and books that we want you to be on the lookout for, and also some random finds that I've found on Amazon that I think that you'd really enjoy. So right now, if you go down below, I've included a pre-order link for Claudia Gray's Master and Apprentice novel. Patrick and I think we have to be both jacked for this book, man, because Claudia Gray is batting 1,000 when it comes to Star Wars writing. I think she's the best writer as far as novels go in Star Wars. I don't think it's Thrawn's game anymore, or Timothy Zahn's game anymore. I think it was in the 80s or the 90s. It's not anymore. It's Claudia Gray, and her book, I think that's going to be awesome. We're going to get a young Obi-Wan and Qui-Gon before Phantom Menace. Dooku's going to make an appearance, apparently. Apparently, there's some dark side goofing around that Qui-Gon does in this book. It's going to be insane.
It's going to be very, very interesting, and I like to see how they're going to take Qui-Gon in these new directions. But at the same time, I also want to see how Kenobi grows as a person, because ultimately, when we find him in Episode 1, he's still kind of naive and kind of still growing up. It almost kind of reminds me of Anakin in a lot of ways, but maybe not to quite the degree we see in Episode 2 and 3. So seeing that character grow is going to be it's going to be a fun experience for readers, I think. And I think Claudia, just the way she writes her characters, she's going to develop Kenobi in a very profound way that we're really going to enjoy as fans.
I totally agree with you. I think that you make that comment about Obi-Wan. He was kind of just a smart mouth. Like,
yeah, he really was.
He wasn't really whiny, which you kind of got from it. Oh, they won't let me on the council because I'm not a Jedi Master. You know, it's not fair. You know, like, you know, one, that character is better than that moment, and Hayden Christensen is a better actor than that moment. But I guess it just runs in the family because apparently, if you write Luke Skywalker now, he has to be a whiner. I mean, that's just my take on the main Star Wars line, to keep it that brief. But really excited for that book. I want to see them add a Qui-Gon more because of what happened with Jodie Hauser's Qui-Gon single shot. She did a remarkable job showcasing how he had not a sense of distrust for the Council, but like, yeah, he had his thoughts on the Force. They weren't in line with the Council, and you start to see, you know, you peel back the layers and you see moments like this. Yeah, they should have probably listened to Qui-Gon Jinn. I think that you don't have the Clone Wars erupt if you listen to Qui-Gon Jinn and his understanding of the Force and balance and all that. And I like what they did with this Dooku single shot just last week. I thought that was fascinating to see just how quickly he could get that Jedi to empathize with him and then to reveal himself as the Sith with the red lightsaber and then just kill that Toygarian Jedi was exceptional. The Obi-Wan comic, you know, I love how all three of these characters got their own single shot with Age of Republic. That seems convenient.
Oh, yeah.
But,
it's pretty convenient.
You know, like Obi-Wan, he's kind of a garbage master in that single shot because he doesn't want to give Anakin opportunity, which is consistent with what we see in Attack of the Clones. And he's just like, I didn't ask to be a master. I'm doing this out of obligation to my master that I held when he was dying, you know. And I think to see this evolution is going to be really satisfying, and I think that's what Claudia Gray is going to do in that book. You mentioned earlier we do have a link to pre-order Queen's Shadow and Timothy Zahn's Thrawn Treason. If you go to the Masters and Apprentice link, you can actually pre-order at the same time. All three books, less than $60 for the hardcover versions. Check that out. Also, you heard me just talk about the Age of Republic and the Age of Age of Republic comics, but there were heroes and villains. They dropped a villain each month. They dropped a hero each month. And we're now approaching Age of Rebellion. What I've done, though, is you can pre-order the trade backs for those Age of Republic books, and that's how they're doing it. So one trade's going to be all the hero stories, and the other trade will be the villains. And then just like some random stuff. Like, Patrick, do you drink at all by chance?
Now and again.
Okay, so like I used to drink beer, and not like excessively, but I would drink a lot of beer in the moments that I drank. So like I'd go to a party, or like my family would be having a get together at the house. Like I'd have like beer, and I just feel like a whale. I would feel very large. I would feel obese. I would want to take a nap. And so I got out of that, and I started drinking whiskey. And so I wanted to get like a large like cube or like a stone to keep it chill, but like not dilute it. And I go on Amazon, and I've been talking about this for a few weeks because I think it's the best freaking thing ever. It's like the silicone mold that you fill with water, and that comes out. It's the Death Star ice cube, and it's like
I've
this,
seen that.
and
Yeah.
it's this big around, and it's so cool. So I threw that link down there as well. I also did some redecorating in the living room. I have a liquor cabinet now, so maybe this is getting a little crazy. But I needed a clock above that, and so I found a really cool Darth Vader, kind of anime influenced Darth Vader wall clock. I put that down there. I'm just going to put random things down there because I think that sometimes it's fun just to treat yourself on a Thursday or a Friday with a little Star Wars love. And what can I get for $20? Amazon has a lot of stuff, and it's hard to sift through. So I've just been doing that. So check that out. It's just a lot of fun. And I just felt like going through all that, honestly, because I want to spend more time because, Patrick, this has been an absolute joy. And I said this at the very beginning. You've been so patient. You've been so patient with us as we kind of figure out, fine-tune the audio setup. And to have you here, for folks to be able to hear you, I'm pretty happy with it. And because of your willingness, you're helping us get like a graphics upgrade. We're going to have a new double box graphic here in the next week or so. This was homemade, as you can tell. I just needed something where we could see our faces. But, Patrick,
works.
it's been a lot of thrill. And as we look ahead to, Sunday for our next live show, we look into the next week of Star Wars. What are you keeping your eyes and ears open for? Because unless I'm unaware, I don't think anything's broken in the last 40 minutes that we've been doing this show.
Definitely nothing broken. Going back to the age of comics, I will say I was scrolling through Twitter last night, and I do have some good news, and that is they are in production for Age of Resistance now in terms of scripting. So that was very, very exciting. I saw the guy, he had put up Age of Resistance, the logo, on the top of a Word document, and on top of his monitor, he had a Rose Tico 3.75 figure. So that's pretty indicative that they're going to be doing some fun stuff with Rose Tico as a character. And I will be glad to see, since she really didn't get a lot of expanded character arc in at least Last Jedi, maybe they can do a little bit more with her when she's younger, or at any time period, really. It'll be nice to see her finally get a little bit more expansion than what she currently has. I really enjoyed the book Cobalt Squadron. That one was really good.
Dude, I'm so excited for Imperial TIE Fighter. I talked about this a few weeks ago on this show, but Imperial TIE Fighter dropping in April, going to cross over with Alphabet Squadron. Oh, my damn. Like I said, dude, it's such a good time to be a part of the Star Wars fandom because you're getting all this stuff, all this content, and then all this crossover now. Like Marvel crossing over with Del Rey. Like, that's freaking genius, man.
That's insane. I mean, it's a great time to be a Star Wars fan. It's also a really bad time for your wallet.
As I try to just sell everybody like $130 worth of Star Wars merch.
I'm a sucker for the comics and the books, so it's going to be a pretty rough year in 2019. But right now, I'm really looking forward to that Thrawn book, believe it or not, because this is the one. We're not quite sure if this is going to be a Thrawn trilogy, if Timothy Zahn has any say in it. This was supposed to be like a 4 or 5 part series of Thrawn.
That's what we said about Benioff and Weiss, too.
Yeah, I think it was like 5 part is what he said. But, with these companies that kind of have their last say on it, I think Thrawn Treason is going to be another great addition to the Thrawn series. But we just got to kind of wait and see how things go. I would love to see if it would tie in a little bit more with the Disney park. I have a feeling it might. I did like the Batu references in Alliances. That was pretty cool.
And Alliances, correct me if I'm wrong, but it took us up pretty close to the finale of Rebels, correct?
Yeah, I think it was right there in the season gap between seasons 3 and 4 is where that took place.
So I'd be curious to know how much of a time jump we're getting here. Obviously, on the cover, you got Thrawn with the Emperor. I want to...
It's going to be in season 4 for sure.
Yeah, but do you think it goes beyond the end of that series? How much longer do they wait to address what happened with Ezra and Thrawn after they hit they go into hyperspeed?
Since Thrawn tends to be a summer release book, I think there's going to maybe be something small revealed in episode 9 potentially. Mm-hmm. That's just speculation here, but if they do drop something like a small scoop of a little bit of something, then I think if there is a 4th Thrawn book planned for next summer, you're going to see they're just waiting to release it because episode 9 might give a little Easter egg. I don't know. It might not have anything to do with the Ezra and Thrawn storyline, but it would be really cool if it does, and the payoff would be wonderful.
All right, so I'm hearing people talk about this. So this will be the last thing that we talk about, unless we get another great topic to talk about.
Let's keep it
but
going, guys.
Do you think that we're gonna get like an Ezra or a Thrawn in Episode 9? I mean, people speculate, but people speculate really anything. It's like Vegas. You can bet on anything in Vegas, and you can speculate anything in Star Wars.
It's questionable because we tend to forget now. Ahsoka's like in her 30s or 40s now by the end of Rebels. I think 30s. So she's starting to get up there in age. She's mid-age. So I think by the time her character keeps going, if she does survive that 30-year gap between episodes 6 and 7, I don't know. There's no telling. It would be absolutely wonderful if she shows up in episode 9 for whatever reason, but I don't think the story needs Ahsoka. I really don't, unless they give a valid reason as to why.
If they bring her back, do you have Ashley Eckstein portray the character?
That's a tough one. I think my personal prediction is I think they're going to go the Maul route like they did for Solo, where they find an actress that looks exactly like Ahsoka. They put her in the hair and the makeup. She looks really, really well. And then they just do the actual roles. She'll do the speaking roles, and then Ashley Eckstein will go back in post and dub over that.
I thought it worked really well with Sam Witwer doing the voice, because like Ray Park obviously is the body, and I'm frustrated because did you hear like he got a lot of hate on social media? They're like, Maul got fat. No, Ray Park got 20 years older, and that's just what the body does. Like the guy's in awesome shape too. Like he could kick my butt. But it's just funny like that it worked so well to me because Ray Park came first, and he only had 2 lines in that whole movie. It's Sam Witwer that expanded the voice, the dialogue of Maul so much in Clone Wars and again in Rebels. So that worked out really well. And if they were to approach Ahsoka the same way, I am so down. But it's tough though when it's not a hologram and it's actually like Ahsoka there on screen, because like everyone will talk about how great Bohemian Rhapsody is, and I agree. Bohemian Rhapsody is a great movie, and I thought it was like a really good tribute to Freddie and Queen. But when he's singing, like it's not Rami Malek, like it's Mark Martel, it's Freddie's tracks. It's like you can tell, like the human eye just is able to tell. I remember like John Knoll talking about this when Rogue One came out and talking about like Tarkin CG. Like the tech isn't there yet. Like you can tell in here in the lips. Like the human eye just notices that it's not moving the right way when the words come out. Like you can tell something's off. So I don't know if the technology is there yet, because I don't want Ahsoka just to be like a cameo here and there character. Like I want Ahsoka on screen, like helming a thing. Yeah. And so interesting to see how that plays out. I don't know. We could go on like this for days. This is why we need to have you on the show more often. Patrick, thank you so much. I want to give a shout out real quick to everyone in the live chat again for being here. We had Jeff Comic 813 stop by, aggressively relaxing. I love that title. We have Area 51 joining us, and he wants to remind us that the reason why that Vader figure is so expensive is because it's got a steel skeleton, and then it's not like a plastic figure. Like it's actual cloth. That's the cape, and it's actually the materials of the costuming. So like that is a very valid point. We had Poor Mike in here for a while. Discovery Bay Comics was joining us, so really appreciate everyone checking out. I think I had an audience at one point of 10, which is awesome because yesterday and today are the first 2 times I've gone live with this channel, with this show, seeing how it works. Patrick, you know this. I usually have the show premiere at 6 p.m. on Thursdays, and maybe that's what we do. I think that we want to really test out, make sure we had the audio figured out here, but then maybe if you would like to, more than welcome to join me back here next Thursday. We could record the show, put it out Thursday night, do the premiere. Both of us can be in the live chat with those watching. I think that could be a lot of fun, and I'd like everyone watching this in the live chat right now, watching the live show or watching the rewind, let us know in the comments after the stream ends. Let us know if that's what you would like. Would you rather see the show go live, where it gives us flexibility to go a little longer, or keep it nice and tight, record it, it's a half-hour show, you get it 6 p.m. on Thursday nights? Let us know in the live chat. Let us know down in the comments below. Patrick, thanks so much. Fun. Thank you so much. I hope you had fun, is what my brain was trying to get out.
Yeah, it's all good. I had a great time. I'd love to come back. And if you guys do want to see more of me on the show, just let David know how you guys want this formatted. Because ultimately, we're all fans. If you guys like something a little bit more professional and quicker that's 30 minutes long, we can shoot those and get those up real quick and just hop in the chat with you guys. So thank you for having me on the show. If you guys want to follow me on Twitter, you can follow me over at Gannon136. I'm always answering your messages and seeing all the wonderful things you guys are sharing on Twitter. Also, a quick shout out. Check out my pirate R2D2 shirt, ARG2D2. Got that last year. If you guys want to get that, I'm not sure if it's online or not, but I got it from Kitty Hawk Kites out on the Outer Banks of North Carolina. Go check them out. See if they sell it on there. If I do, I will send the link to David, and we can get that up for you guys so you guys can purchase your own pirate R2D2 t-shirt.
I would absolutely appreciate you sending me that link so that way we can get that out there because that's awesome. I have I can't remember who made it, but last year there was that guy that made the Dave Filoni A Star Wars Story t-shirt. I bought
It's
that.
actually a friend of mine.
Is it really? He's like a teacher, isn't he?
Yeah, it's Sam. He's from he was kind of doing some stuff with Star Wars Newsnet for a while. I'm not sure if he still is. He was running the Instagram for Star Wars Newsnet.
Okay.
But I will also send you the link to that. It's Tarkin's Tees over on what's that t-shirt website?
TeePublic?
TeePublic, yeah. It's on TeePublic.
Send me the link and send me the contact information from him. We should get him on the show.
Oh, yeah, I'd love to. And if you guys want to check out those designs, they are absolutely phenomenal. I have a Thrawn t-shirt that he designed for the Chimera, which is Thrawn's ship, if you're familiar with the canon. And I got that. You can get it in multiple colors, but I had to get that one in blue. I absolutely had to. It's my favorite t-shirt the ones he's done. But I think I'm going to get that Filoni one because it's just too good to pass up.
It's too good. I'll wear it this Sunday just for you and just for Sam. Thank you for sharing. And, yeah, let me have those links. I want to share that with everyone who checks out this video.
Absolutely.
And real quick, right before we go, got to say thanks one more time to our sponsors, the Fantasy Shop in Maplewood, Missouri. That's in St. Louis, Missouri. So you have St. Louis, the county, and then you have Maplewood, the city of, in it. And they're our comic book shop, and they're our proud sponsor. They have everything. They have comics, they have toys, they have board games, they have collectibles, Magic the Gathering, everything you could want. If you're ever in the St. Louis area, stop by a fantasy shop. Let them know you heard about them from Beyond the Blast Doors or the show Beyond the Panel. Whichever you do prefer, that is going to do it for me. That's going to do it for Patrick. That's Patric Covey. He's a friend of the show. He just joined me for issue number 7 of Beyond the Panel. You just joined us for issue number 7 of Beyond the Panel. I hope you had an awesome time. It was a blast to spend this moment with you talking about Star Wars comics. Don't forget that coming up this Sunday, 11 a.m., Beyond the Blast Doors episode 6.
Thank you for watching Beyond the Blast Doors. Be sure to subscribe to our channel. Don't forget, give us a thumbs up and leave a comment. Beyond the Blast Doors, a Star Wars conversation. Thank you for watching Beyond.